Hello and welcome. My name is Lonnie Lewis, and today, for a little while, I would like to share with you a subject that touches all of us at some point or time in our lives. It is called burnout. What is burnout? Well, let's define it. Psychology today defines burnout as a state of emotional, mental, and often physical exhaustion brought on by prolonged, repeated stress. So most all of my researching showed me that it was brought on by prolonged stress or repeated stress. I remember as a young convert being close to my pastor and had the privilege of working with him almost daily. One afternoon, as we were taking care of church business, he stopped, he let out a big sigh, looked off into the distance, and said out loud, "I dream of a day off." My pastor was tired and needed a few days to recover and renew his soul. But it was hard for him to delegate and just let someone else take care of things. This is easy to say and harder to do. That's why I decided to touch on a little nugget of truth that was in my studies, Section 9, Pastor's Practical Tips Against Burnout. There are 5 of these tips the author suggests. 1 is to seek help. 2 is to invite accountability. 3 is to acknowledge limitations. 4 is to receive grace. And number 5 is to accept love. Remember, burnout is not a sudden onset condition. It occurs over time, often a byproduct of inadequate coping and adaptive skills. And like my pastor, it is important to remember burnout preys on the most dedicated individuals. I think that's important to note. It preys on dedicated individuals. And each case can be different, as well as the circumstances that lead up to burnout. Here's that first tip. It was number 1, seek help. And it says, find a trustworthy counselor or colleague to talk about what you're experiencing. This is a tough one for leaders. This means they need to ask for help and admit they stand in need of answers. One thing I have personally learned is this: it's okay to say, I don't know. Sometimes the answer comes in due time. Remember, God's timing is in fact always perfect. Number 2, invite accountability. Once you have found your trustworthy confidant, work with that person to help you establish boundaries, whatever that may look like. 2 days off in a row, date night with your mate, going fishing for a day, or just a lazy afternoon off enjoying a sporting event. Whatever it is that helps you relieve that stress. Your trustworthy person can help you maintain balance, and that's important. Number 3, acknowledge limitations. This is a tough one to accept because most folks don't want to admit they need help. The recommendation here is simply step back, delegate ministry tasks. This gives the pastor a big break. But sometimes just as important, it lets others utilize their gifts and skills. In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 30 and 31, God reminds us that even young grow weary and tired. When we wait on the Lord, He will renew our strength. Number 4, receive grace. Give yourself time to receive and recharge your spirit. Only time spent with your Heavenly Father can accomplish this. So that means taking time away from your duties and relaxing in God's presence. And let His grace apply to your soul and not just everyone else under your care. To avoid burnout, you must give yourself both space and grace. I thought that was pretty neat. Space and grace. Number 5, accept love. This is a tough one. This means to accept God's love that has always been there, regardless of your performance. It is God's nature to love you and restore you. God's love is not dependent. Hear this. God's love is not dependent on productivity or perfection. Once we quit striving to live up to expectations, we can be free to live joyously for Jesus, knowing He loves us just the way we are. Thank you for listening.